Alright, hello everybody. I finally got this account on another phone. If you didn't know, you can only have 5 Instagram accounts on one phone, and I have that filled up. So this is a 6th account, and I'm going to hope to do these questions regularly. I'm hoping for once every Saturday. Unlike the health questions, which have a direct answer, like just do this, business questions are more nuanced, and there's not always a 100% answer for everything. So a lot of times the strategies that I'm going to talk about have to do with your personality and such. So there's a few main strategies to promote any business on Instagram. The main one, in my opinion, is going to be to have an account that is just about that business. But if you're posting just about products, probably no one's going to care. You have to start with information in most cases. Unless you're selling a product that is just highly visual and it's exactly what it is, right? Like this is this thing, this is a picture of this thing. Well, then you can just post that. But in cases like supplements, no one cares about the product until they know about the information. So when we first started the Wallach Warriors account, we were really just posting pictures of products and we love this product and pictures of us at events and stuff. And no one cared unless they already knew who we were and already knew what those products were. That's the key. We didn't grow at all. But as soon as I switched to posting purely information on that account only, so this is account, it's just about information, the account started to grow very quickly. It was quite easy. You use hashtags, you can use hashtag banks, you can Google hashtag bank. And consistency matters a lot. A lot of people give up in the early months and years, right? Don't expect explosive growth to happen, just like a regular business. If you expect it to take 10 times longer than you think, then you're going to be not disappointed. But both on the Wallach account and my Transcend Tower account, actually my cell phone tower account, I've seen a lot of accounts come and go in my time here, whereas I might have been the first one to do the Wallach account, but that doesn't mean I reached everybody. There's still room for other people to do that too. And with the Transcend Tower account, same thing. I've seen a lot of people try to start doing it and realize, I guess they realized that it's a lot of work to stay consistent, and they just fell off, before they really saw the results of their actions. Now, what I do on the Wallach Warriors account is 100% hook. So it doesn't always give all the information. It gives tantalizing information where people want to know more about it. And that's the opposite of what we were doing at first. We were just giving the meat at first and no one cared. And people get upset about that sometimes. They say, what's the mineral? Why are you posting stuff and not telling me the mineral? Why are you not telling me what to do? Because if we were just telling people what to do, every single post would be, take the 90 essential nutrients, avoid the bad foods. You know what I mean? It would be boring. There'd be no hook at all. And just because you're saying the truth doesn't mean people are going to believe the truth, right? This is true with testimonials too. There's a lot of health accounts that share testimonials, but they just go in one ear or in one eye and out the other eye, without people really paying attention to it if they don't know the information behind it. So I would say in general, be as focused as possible, be as consistent as possible. And you don't have to show your face to the audience, but it goes a long way. It makes them trust you, especially if you're being honest and you're showing your face, people can read that all over your face. And I don't know about you, but I've never messaged an account that didn't have a face to it and asked them for advice of any kind, or even really bought a product off them of any kind. You want to see what's behind this business. Who is this person? Why are they doing this? Now, a couple more things. When we really started growing at the beginning, when I finally decided this is what I'm going to do, I'm going to chop Wallach lectures up, Dr. Glidden lectures up too. I'm going to put them on Instagram. I was posting 4 to 6 times a day. I spent the whole 3 weeks making the first batch of posts. And literally I ditched my apartment. I moved to my mom's house and I sat at her kitchen table for 3 weeks straight on my crappy laptop, making up the first batch of posts. And so that I had a bunch of posts ready to go, and so that I knew that I could stay consistent, but I had to keep up with the pace. And I still have to spend a significant portion of my work year making content, making Instagram posts. I have some help now. I have some help with subtitling, which is the most time consuming part of it, but I still have to put time, every month, every couple months to make posts. And I like to make posts in batches. So it's like a project. I sit down, I'll make a whole bunch of posts. I'll send them to my upline who does the subtitling at this point in time. And then, we'll put them into the auto post app. By the way, I do use an auto post app. The auto post app is pretty critical. I didn't even have the money to buy it at the time, but I think it's like $188. I didn't even have that money, but I found a way to get that money and put it in that instead of, any other type of investment. It was the first major investment here. Now, I use the Later app, but I'm actually not recommending it because they really annoyed me this year. They raised their prices and cut their service in half. So I'm paying more for half as much as I used to pay. So if you can find another auto post app, that would be great. Do not use Later, in my opinion. And I will also say that being controversial on these accounts has hurt us a lot. It's made it harder to grow. We saw rapid growth at the beginning, and then I guess Instagram realized that we were a controversial account, and then they squeezed us down, shadow banned us. So our initial growth was rapid, but then we've really been crawling along ever since. Actually, we're in a little bit of a growth spurt right now, and I think that might have to do with the fact that I haven't mentioned pharmaceutical needles at all. I've refused to answer any questions on that for about a year now. So in one sense, it might be easier to promote something that's less controversial. Health is kind of always going to be controversial. But on the other hand, controversy is interesting. So if you're promoting something that's super boring, even if it's visually catchy, it also might be hard to grow. In any case, don't expect it to be easy, but remember that this opportunity is incredible still. You know, I've always thought about like what it would take to hand out 700 flyers or knock on 700 doors or make 700 phone calls, but it's easy to reach 700 people on Instagram. And you don't need a million follower account to make money or to make sales. We started making sales very early on because the information was catching. You know, it was hooking people in and, you know, showed my face and they trusted me to give them an answer. Remember that most business, most sales is about solving a problem. So if you're presenting information about the problem and claiming that you can help it, hopefully people come to you and ask you how to help with that problem. Basically, this is true even with a regular old product sale. And I'm saying that because just posting the solution doesn't necessarily alert people to the fact that this is solving a problem. Like if we just made posts that said, take the 90 essential nutrients, avoid the bad foods, we're completely avoiding the concept of why you need to do these things. What's the problem? Now, everybody has different strengths and different skills, and not everybody is comfortable showing their face online. But honestly, I promise that that's a big thing. But if you have your voice, you can use your voice. You can make posts that don't show your face, but they use your voice, overlaying some pictures or something like that. And of course, some people's strength is in writing, and don't neglect that because people do read captions. I like to space them out a little bit. If you've seen how I post my captions with the periods in between it, I like to make it easier for them to read. Always think, how are people going to engage with this? Because I'm personally not going to read any story or post if it's just a big block of text. You know, it's too hard on the eyes for me. It strains my brain to try and do it on the phone, so I'm not going to do it. So be aware, be conscious, make it easy on people. But optimally, you want to use all these things. You want the people who are following you to know your face and trust your face, right? Your expressions, all this stuff that, is a lot of it is just intuitive. We're looking at someone's face and deciding if we trust them or not within the first few seconds. And definitely utilize all the functions of Instagram, right? Utilize the caption. The caption is absolutely key. If people hang around longer on the post, that's going to factor into the algorithm. You know, use reels, use posts, use stories, use lives, use all of it. And whenever Instagram comes out with a new feature, I would jump all over that because they promote those new features more than anything. When stories first came out, they promoted stories hard. When lives first came out, they promoted lives hard. When reels first came out, they promoted it hard. IGTV, same thing. They promoted it hard. And this means that when IGTV came out, we would do an IGTV post and it would get way more views than our regular post. So we knew that Instagram was favoring the new features. So pay attention to the new features. Any new gadget that they have, use it if you can. This is a trick question. You can't sell anything to anyone. You can only sell to people who have a problem and are willing to admit that problem and are looking for a solution, right? Sometimes people have a problem and they're not even looking for a solution. You have to work on that within your pitch, convincing them to seek a solution. For example, in the health business, I've had a diabetic tell me, hey, in Canada, my insurance covers my diabetes meds, so it only costs me $2 a month. This man had no incentive to do anything different. He didn't care. He said, you know what, I'm fine the way I am. He's 200 pounds overweight. He didn't care. So if they don't care, you're probably not going to sell it to them. And a lot of people make this mistake in the actual business. They're going and they're trying to shake people by the ears and tell them you should buy this thing when, you know, they haven't come to you and said, hey, I have a problem. Could you help me solve this problem? Or maybe they don't even know that you can help. So most of our posture here online is like, hey, we can help you with the problem. But we're not reaching out to people telling them that. We're just putting that information out there, hoping that they come to us for help, that they come to us with genuine questions, and then we can help. Well, we're here on Instagram and we're promoting our service for free. This is what we do. In fact, I've been blocked from paying for sponsored ads since the very beginning. Since we were shadow banned originally, I've never been able to pay for an ad on Facebook or Instagram. So that's saved me a lot of money. So at this point, I've never actually paid for promotion of this business. In real life, we did stuff. We hosted events. We put out flyers, and that type of stuff costs money. But here online, I've never put money towards that. I've only put money towards software and stuff like that. So this question would go right back to how to promote yourself online, how to build a business online. You can do it relatively for free. I mean, everyone's got a phone in your hand. That's enough to start basically. And you just utilize these platforms, be consistent, and be committed to it. Yes, of course, we make money from books. I publish my books on Amazon. I'm looking into publishing some myself now in real life using an actual printer and handling the distribution and cutting Amazon out because they do take 40% after the print costs. But book money is significant at this point. It's our second biggest income after the supplement sales. And it's also it's a serious factor in legitimization. My colleague, Dr. Reese, told the story recently on one of our talks that basically he was going to do a reality television show about natural healing. And the producers said, we love the show, but we don't basically see that you're legitimate. You're not a doctor and you don't have a book. So he went and became a doctor, which is a pretty extreme move. and then wrote several books. And that it does legitimize you. And I'm not saying that you have to write a book here, but I'm saying that whatever business you're in, you should consider writing a book at least about your experiences in the business. And even if you're in the business of selling a physical product, again, you can write a book about your experiences in that business. There are people who are also in your business who might find value from that, but you can also write a book that's speaking directly to your customers and telling them about the problems that your products and services solve. And a book is a big project, and I'm sure not everyone is completely capable of it, but you want to have multiple verticals, they call it, multiple different pathways of making money. You can make money off of your products that you sell, services that you sell, and also about the information behind those services. In that same vein, you can make money from ads, for example, from YouTube, podcasts, something like that. So you can make longer content that's talking about your business, talking about your products, talking about the problems that you solve, and then you can chop that up and put it on the other platforms such as Instagram. And that's basically the Gary V crushing it method, and that's the method I use, right? I started chopping up lectures that I did not myself make, but I still post those lectures, and then I would make my own longer content now when I was comfortable, and then chop that up and distribute it on other platforms. And full disclosure, I actually took this question from a question that was asked on my personal account that I didn't have time to answer properly, and I pasted it in here not knowing how many people are going to ask their own questions. So this was asked a while ago, and it's an interesting question. Now the thing is, we're doing this a bit weird because we're doing this online, whereas I was brought into this business in real life by real life people. My buddy who said, yo, take this. And then he knew this dude who had this stuff in real life. And our main focus was doing real life events, right? Doing health expos, doing farmers markets, doing whatever, our own independent meetings. And that's how most of network marketing does work. You meet people in real life, you invite them to a real life event, you invite them to talk with you at a coffee shop. So most people who come into this business do start in real life. So we're working backwards here. And how do you find a local distributor? Well, it's a bit tough. They're all over the place. They're spread out all over the place. You never even know. I mean, in my town, I don't have any distributors, I don't think. Even I can see who's watching this story so far, and there's one guy from my town. What's up, Joel? There's one guy who's watching this from my town. So the rest of you are all over the place. Am I going to send you to somebody else? Well, sure, if I happen to know somebody in your town who is very qualified. But the good news is you don't really need somebody in real life. It is great to have people in real life, but I moved around all the time in this business anyway. So even though the people that I started with close to me, they were no longer close to me when I moved. So you do have to kind of figure out how to do it otherwise. And it is incredible to have a team, especially like a solid, dedicated upline that hosts their own events and stuff. Like, hey, if you're in, Longmont, Colorado, you can join Tom Chenault's team. He hosts meetings every week at his building. That's so convenient. But the truth is my team, we're spread out all over the place. And in fact, two of my main guys, LaShawn and Leo, I've never met either of them. They both got involved after the pandemic with travel was all screwed up. I haven't met either of them yet. Leo says he's coming to stay with me soon though. My point here is that there's more than one way to train and there's more than one way to do this business. The events and such, it was a big part of our business to begin with, but it was also an exhausting and expensive part of this business. And we really didn't take off until we went online. And if you do find somebody close to you, that's fantastic. You could talk to me. Maybe I know somebody in your town. Maybe one of my distributors is close by. It's possible. But again, we're spread out all over the place and I wouldn't expect that. But we can help you no matter what from anywhere. And just because your upline lives close to you doesn't mean that they're going to give you their full attention. Doesn't mean that you're going to get along with them awesomely, right? That's part of this too. If you don't like the person, it's really hard to work together no matter what, no matter if you're close or not. So you can work with us regardless. You can message us. We can get you started, no problem. And how it generally works in this business, whether you're with another team or with my team, the upline is going to help you as much as you're committed. The more committed people, the people who are doing more, the people who are asking more, the people who are bugging us for their attention, we're probably going to give you the attention. And I've heard people complain in this business before, actually, in my business, longevity company, that have been like, my upline isn't really helping me and this and that. And do you think if I joined your line that it would be better? And, it's kind of a weird response because it is more up to them than your upline. And my uplines did help me a lot, a ridiculous amount. They invested in me. They sent me all over the place to learn. They gave me books, all this stuff, all the support. But I was still engaged with the process. They invited me to things, sure, but I said yes and showed up and did the work. So no matter what, the upline's not going to build the business for you. What they're going to do is help answer your questions, help give you confidence, right? Just help you in dealing with people, point you towards information, point you towards the resources that you need to learn about the products and the services and the science and sales. And whether you're in my downline or not, I promise to everybody that you can message me and I'll give you my best advice regardless. I'll give you an answer regardless. And the people who bug me the most, they tend to be the ones who end up doing the most in this business and making the most money in this business because they're the ones engaged with it. So that's always going to be the case. In the first years of this business, I literally woke up and started doing homework. Started doing homework on the sales, started doing homework on the products, watching Dr. Glidden lectures. I'm watching webinars while I'm eating lunch. Like it was all day, every day. And And that's because we're in a very heavy, information heavy business. If we were just selling car washes, well, the actions involved is going to be me going out, knocking on doors, handing out flyers. Hey, you need a car washed. Hey, we'll do this deal for you. Hey, we can sign your whole business up. But in this very information heavy business, study is absolutely key. And a lot of people think that they can just jump into this just because they know about the products and then they know about the basic message. And then they fail to sign people up because sales is a lot more complicated than products. And that last point is key. Our health message is actually kind of easy. If you want to keep it simple, you can keep it simple. Get on the 90 essential nutrients, get off the bad foods. Most people will improve astronomically from those two things alone. And you don't really need to know all the details. That's true. But just because you know that doesn't mean you know how to propose something. If, then, because. It doesn't mean you know how to communicate that you can help solve someone's problem. It doesn't mean that you can help someone's objections. It doesn't mean that you can put your ego aside, right? These are different skills. And I personally think that sales, or at least this type of sales, information heavy sales, is a lot more complicated than health in general. I mean, once I understood the health thing, I put most of my focus and attention into learning sales, learning communication, learning network marketing. And I had been selling things most of my life before I got into this business, but I was selling things that already had an existing demand, that were easy to understand, that people already wanted. And all I had to do was provide that to the market at a fair price, and give good service, do it with a smile or whatever. But it is way, way harder to sell a lifestyle, especially a lifestyle that people don't understand, a lifestyle that their doctor tells them is not necessary, right? Your doctor is going to say, oh, don't worry about gluten. And, it's going to give you the opposite advice that we do. They're going to tell you to restrict salt and so on. So if you're selling furniture, you never have to come up with objections of what a person's doctor says. You never have to tell people that are older, more mature, more educated than you. You never have to tell people how to eat. You never have to tell people to throw away their foods that they love and all that stuff. This is hard. So there's a lot of finesse involved in learning how to deal with people. And again, that's the biggest part of the learning curve. And that's what the biggest dedication and commitment should be too. People think that they need to understand the anatomy in and out like a doctor does. You don't need to do that. You need to understand people. And this is also why I spent so much time answering only a few questions about this business, because the business, again, it is more nuanced than the actual health questions. Health questions are often pretty easy. Sometimes they'll give more detail than is even necessary. A lot of times we just say, hey, I can help you with this. So long story short, if you want to do this, if you're committed to this, all you got to do is bug me. I will always give you an answer no matter what, whether you're in my downline or not. If you are in my downline, I'll probably be inclined to help you even more. We can talk on the phone. We can do whatever you need to do to get you trained. All right, guys, that's all I can get for today. Like I said, I'm going to try and do this once a week on Saturdays. I'm going to try and put a lot more effort into distributor training material. We have a fair bit of distributors now, and you guys do need as much support as I can give you. So I'm committed to that. Bug me if you need to. And normally I have some commercials to put in here, but I haven't uploaded them yet on this phone. But if you didn't know, I do have 3 health books: Fake Diseases, Everything You Should Know About Healthy Blood Sugar, and the NutriSmart Rebuttal in defense of Dr. Wallach. Those are all helpful for you. And I hope that I've written those books in a way that helps you understand the message in general, the objections that come up, how to answer questions, how to deal with people, even though they're not written directly in that form. Hopefully they help you become a better communicator in this business.